Happy New Year! I'm Gory B Movie.
I'm Danny Knightmare.
And tonight we are going to go through our top 10 of 2022, the best horror movies of the year, according to us, which is subjective. So you may have an entirely different list. And as we go through these, we'd love to hear what your picks for the year are as well.
Yeah, 2022. Seems like just yesterday. Oh, yeah. Anyways, moving on. 2023 should be great. Should be great. But honestly, I think 2022 was a great year for horror.
It actually was. It started off a little rough, I'll say. I think it started off a little rough. I was a little nervous, but once we got to I think about spring, I was like, all right, we're cooking now. Things are going really well. So I was really excited.
It seemed like a better year in general. Compared to the last 2 years, the bar was really low. So
I think there was a lot of awesome horror creators and filmmakers who were just hungry to make something awesome, and they did that. You know, we had Jordan Peele, we had a new Scream movie, a new Halloween movie, we had a new Jeepers Creepers movie. Not all of them were great, okay? A lot of them were, though.
Some of them we might talk about on my stream later on worst stuff. Let's focus on the good right now.
We'll focus on the good. Let's check in with the chat. We've got Brandon the Beldam here today. We have Katie, my good friend from Popping the Popcorn. Great channel over there. We have my younger brother, Zigma, who's still upset that he has not gotten his new car, the Mach-E that he got for his, he got it for himself, but he also has a Mach-E Connection channel. So if you are a car nerd, that's a channel to check out. You will find it in my featured channels on the channel somewhere. I don't know. Go look for it. You guys are smart. You can figure it out. Anyway, without a further ado, which one of us is going first?
It's your channel.
All right. Hey, Kevin from Haunted by Horror is here. Another really great channel in the chat. And I think I fixed my alert. So if we get any super chats or new subscribers, it should let us know. I think I fixed it. I think I found what the problem was. So that makes me happy. We're also going to do a lot of honorable mentions when we get close to number 1. My number 10 was a really tough one. There was a couple fighting for that spot, but ultimately I went with the one that A, I'm going to add to my collection, and B, that just, it's memorable. I think that's one of the qualities of a great horror movie. So, dun 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 dun. My number 10 is Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 is a rare sequel in that I think it's better than the original.
Yeah, I think in most ways it is.
Cheyenne's here. Hey. I think the gore was up. I think the story is up. One of the harsh realities of the original, which is one of the things that makes it really scary, is you have these characters, but you find out pretty early on that you should not get invested in these characters. This is Art's movie. Yeah. It's almost like a snuff film in that don't get attached to these characters because they are here to die. This is Art making his debut, showing you what he's all about. Now, Terrifier 2, we get more of a traditional horror film where you have Art, this obviously somewhat supernatural clown that's giving Pennywise a run for his money. He is creepy as all hell, even when he's not doing horrible things to people. But we also have a hero character who, is dressed up as a Valkyrie on Halloween, and she's almost like prophesized to go up against Art. And it would have been higher on my list, but this movie did leave a lot of questions for me. I do know that the director spoiled that on the commentary for the Blu-ray, he's revealed what some of these mysteries are, but they are going to be revealed in Terrifier 3, which I'm already very excited to see. But this was definitely a memorable film. I love that it's ridiculously long. I love that he's that passionate about telling the story. I love the practical effects. I love the music. I love the kind of 80s vibe to it. This was a really special movie.
Yeah, I want to agree. And can I just straight up say this is my number 10 as well?
Well, let's say hi to my very good friend Ariel in the chat. Ariel, never apologize for missing a stream because you can always watch the replay. And hey, we know we're going to see you again, so it's all good. I'm happy you're here.
Now, X almost got my number 10. And I almost poetically left it there, but I changed it for a reason, and we'll get to that later on in our list. But Terrifier 2 is
I didn't mention the one that was fighting with mine. Mine was between The Innocents and Terrifier 2. The Innocents is incredible. I'll talk about that in my honorable mentions, but Terrifier 2 is the one I'm going to add to my collection.
Yeah, but I just thought I almost kept it just because it'd been funny to have X as Roman numeral as 10 as X. But unfortunately, I moved that. We'll talk about that later, though. Terrifier 2 is amazing. The director, I love how he's just coming back. He's doing a better job this time. I do get invested once again into a final girl. This time she does live. Like, she doesn't get killed like two-thirds of the movie in. And she was awesome. Her name is Sienna, I believe.
Yeah, Sienna. Like your sister, but not quite.
Yeah, no R. What did I have? Oh, yeah.
Look at you with the notes.
We got David Thornton back as Art, and he's great. He's not the only person that's ever played Art, but he's taken it and made it his own. I wouldn't want anybody else to play Art ever again.
And I will say, as somebody who's, I think my one real bad fear is mimes. And used to be afraid of spiders too. Got over that. Not getting over mimes anytime soon, because I don't think I'm gonna ever have a pet mime. But yeah, Art scares the shit out of me. Of all the horror characters out there, Art is the one I wouldn't want to cross. Even when he's just wearing the sunglasses, he just creeps me out.
My new screenplay is called Spider Mime.
No! And I love spiders now.
But yeah, Damien Leon is great, and I want to hear what he has more to do. He also gave us Felissa Rose and Jericho to up it, and little Ralph Macchio Jr., Daniel Russo Jr. from Cobra Kai.
And that's the thing, you can tell that Damien Leone, who's been with this character since All Hallows Eve, you can tell he is passionate about the horror genre. He's passionate about being a horror movie, which I really love when filmmakers embrace that. I hate when they're like, well, it's not really a horror movie. I hate that. It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, and you even get a, what is it called? A pecindectomy. You love those.
A penectomy.
Penectomy, yeah.
That's when a dong gets cut off, guys.
Bit off or chewed off or
However,
off.
I love my mangled dongs.
I hear originally he was going to make it into like a balloon.
Yeah, actually, you would think if you've seen this movie, this is some of the most intense gore I have ever seen in a movie. Previously the award went to the first Terrifier, but if you want intense gore, I think this is right up there with some of the greats like Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. One of the goriest films I've ever seen. And it's fun. I think, a lot of people will put down gore and be like, well, it's not as scary. I think gore is just another, part of the palette that goes into creating a horror movie, and when it's needed, or when it fits the film, it's really fun. And then this movie entirely fits. It's almost Looney Tunes level of gore, because it's so over the top and it's impressive, and it's something we don't see every day. And mostly that's what I look for in a horror movie, is something I haven't seen before. And with these movies, they're giving us that with the gore, with the really interesting story. With the mythology, there's some crazy stuff going on in this movie, guys.
Yeah, it's brutal, and like there's one death scene that's so drawn out, and you feel so bad for her at the same time, but you can't help but laugh at it because you don't know if it's like shockingly bad or scary. There's a few of the murders in this movie and the original, but especially in this one. Or should I be laughing? Because I am.
I feel like it's kind of, and it's weird that I kind of like Art. I didn't know if I liked him in the first one, but in this one, he's got like his imaginary clown sidekick. Like I kind of like him. I feel like he's just insane.
He's got his own little.
She's terrifying.
Like Harley Quinn to him being the Joker,
little
I guess.
kid
Yeah,
clown.
but
Oh.
she's evil.
Like this movie is able to. It finds every flavor of horror. It's got creepiness. It's got visual horror, things that are not gory, they're just really scary to look at. It's got the gore, it's just, it brings it all. It won't be for everyone. This is really intense. You know, if you do not want an intensely gory horror film, this is not for you. But if you are looking for something like that, for something that you haven't seen before, something that's going to say, look at that 10 level on the gore scale and say, you know what, we can do better, check it out.
Yeah, it also has mashed potatoes. Make sure you eat them all.
Gosh, yeah, some of the scenes in this movie are incredible. Checking in with the chat, Brandon says it definitely delivered on the carnage. Kevin says Art always brings his A game. Zigma, my brother, says a good horror movie is like a good poop. It can be a bit scary at first, but in the end, it's worth it. Put that on a frickin' plaque, somebody. Make a t-shirt.
I want a magnet on my fridge that says that.
Ariel says, my thoughts on Terrifier 2 is how the final girl trope is good and it's awesome. She is an incredible final girl. After especially watching the first one, you're like, who on earth can go against this supernaturally intense being? We got one. You know, Sienna is incredible.
There's a fan theory that Art might be her dad.
Oh, there's a lot, but let's not get into spoilers because we're talking about our top 10. Right. Torchbearer, our good friend who we met in 2022, is also really liked Terrifier 2. Oh, and I'm here, by the way. 2022 also gave us a hashtag old dude vampire, and now it looks like hashtag old dude clown. And Echo, nice to see you here. Okay, are we ready for our number 9? I wonder if we have the same ones going through. I doubt it. Because we're our own people, guys. Okay, we have separate brains and separate tastes in film.
Find out.
Our shirts today are very 2022.
Yeah, I'll let you know that there is 2 of my picks are on this shirt.
And I got a Stranger Things reference on mine. Moving on to the very next pick on my list. That's your list. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'm gonna go with dun, 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 dun. My number 9 pick is Prey. The biggest bummer with this one is that it was not theatrically released. At least not where I live. If it got a theatrical release, it was limited. Prey is incredible. It is the best Predator movie since the first one, honestly. I think it's definitely up there. I really like Predator 2. I wasn't that interested in the Predator or Predators. It's way better than both of those. I really love this movie. It's kind of a prequel. It's taking us back to, like, you know, the dawn of America times before it was, you know, invaded. But we've got an old school Predator, and we've got a woman, I think she's Comanche. And I've seen some criticisms on this that I really don't like, saying that she's a Mary Sue. Absolutely not. Her tribe is telling her, you need to be a medicine woman. That's what you're good at. And she's like, no, I can be a warrior. And her brother believes in her, and he takes her out, you know, to go hunt and stuff, but she fails. She falls on her ass
several times.
And her tribe is embarrassed by her, but she still goes out on her own, and she goes against this predator. And the reason I think she's so successful is, in addition to her tribe discounting her, thinking of her as prey, so does the predator. The predator does not think she is a threat, and she's able to use that against the predator to get the upper hand. There's great action in this. This should have been on the big screen. Yeah. Incredible action, incredible storytelling, incredible characters. I loved this movie.
It was amazing. And it's more about, like, not how many times you get knocked down, but how many times you get back up. Because even though she's not great at everything that she wants to be great at, she doesn't give up.
She gets knocked down, but she gets up again. That's way not a 2022 reference. Danny and Gory Tanner. What? Full house. Cal L is here in the chat. Ben Grimm is here. He says he loved Prey, had to rewatch for the Comanche audio version. I really would like to see that. I've heard no, I have seen that. I've seen the Comanche audio version. I haven't seen the one where they translate it. I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. But
The one we watched, they translated the French guys, didn't they?
that's the only one that they translated.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know there's 2 different audio versions. The sequels are fun, but I agree Prey is the best one since The Predator. I think so too. I have a soft spot in my heart for Predator 2, but I would say this is neck and neck with Predator 2 for me, if not better. I mean, I think on a technical level, I would say this is a better film.
I'd agree, but I love 2, but that was so long ago, and I've loved 2 since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
It took forever to get a sequel that I felt is worthy. Oh, there you go.
Is my alert gonna work?
You make it work. Make it.
Thank you so much, JK, 80s horror fan. Sorry my alerts are still apparently not working. You and your channel make Sundays better. No disrespect to religious people. Thank you so much. Oh, there we go. Yes! The alerts are working. So you got the Jack Torrance alert. Thank you. I'm so glad those are working. And thank you for the generous donation. Probably going to put that towards seeing some more movies. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to Megan this week.
Ooh.
Looking forward to Corsage. What's Corsage?
I don't know. That sounds like a prom horror movie.
What is your number 9 pick?
My number 9 is Fall.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Your number 9. Dun, dun. All right.
So, what I got? Fall is directed by Scott Mann with 2 N's. And I don't know, this movie kind of, I didn't have that high of expectations. It looked kind of like something that would be fun to watch. Kind of isn't from the same people who brought us what was it? How many meters down with the sharks?
47 meters
47 meters down. Ooh. Oh, yeah.
What? That is way too generous. Wow. Wow, that is so generous. Thank you so much. Another super chat from JK's horror fan. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Popping the Popcorns channel is awesome indeed. Thank you so much. And hopefully that alert will come up again because that was cool.
Go check out her channel if you haven't. She's really nice.
Yes! Oh, this time you got The Exorcist. Yay, they're working. I'm so pleased. Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyways, so yeah, you got even Papa Winchester, aka Megan, her dad, and she's like just lost her fiance or her husband or whatever through a cliff climbing accident where I believe a bird scared him off the cliff and made him fall to his death. And so she's been kind of just doing nothing good with her life, even thinking about suicide. Then her friend, mutual friend that used to go climbing with her and her husband, invites her out to this tower.
Who, she was the babysitter in Halloween 2018.
Yeah, she was. Not the babysitter in Halloween Ends.
No.
Not Corey.
No.
But anyways, they go climbing out on this old tower out there that has like a red light so planes don't hit it. But other than that, there's like no maintenance on it. The ladders are all falling apart, and they're gonna totally YouTube selfie stick this whole mission with they got a drone. They're gonna fly around. It's just a bad idea, and they're not good at doing it, and it ends up being horrible as they are stuck up there overnight.
They make a lot of very frustrating choices. I think one of the things about Fall I really liked is how they filmed it. They actually did have to build this tower. I don't think it's quite as tall as it is in the movie, but they did build it, and they did make the girls have to film a lot because it had to be from their point of view. And so as far as movies giving you real life vertigo, this movie will do that for you. This movie, if you're afraid of heights, this is one of the scariest movies I think you're gonna see.
Yeah, this would have been perfect to see like on the IMAX. The bigger the screen you can watch this on, the better.
3D.
Yes, because it would have just totally given you that feel that you're way up there. It still did, even from what we saw. But I mean, like I said, the bigger the screen, the better.
I like what it did with the characters too. The characters are flawed, but we care about them, and even though some of them have done some pretty horrible things, I feel like we care about these girls especially, and we're really rooting for them to make it down.
Yeah, and
alive.
So I just have to put that out there. It made me feel some like I was really involved. Therefore, it has to be on this list.
It was really good. It didn't quite make my list, but it's going to be one of my honorable mentions. I really enjoyed this movie. This movie had me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Fairpoint Station's here. They say, Fall was gimmicky but fun. I think it's really great. I think especially if you loved like 47 Meters Down or other trapped in a single location movies like Frozen, not the Disney one. I think this is absolutely one to check out. Okay, moving right along. So we're on number 8 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Dun, 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 dun. My number 8 is gonna be Nope.
Yes.
So pardon me, I'm still getting over this cold. Nope. When I first saw it, I wasn't really sure how I felt about it. It's one I've rewatched a couple times now, and some of the most gorgeous visuals of the year. I do think going into this, knowing the less you know about it, the more you're going to enjoy it. I think by now, most of you probably know there are some paranormal things going on. One of the things I loved is when we went to Halloween Horror Nights, we did get to go on the Nope set for Jupiter's Claim.
Yeah, the real set.
Yeah, which was really, really cool. Made it a little extra special. I really love the performances in this. We talked about this a lot in my autism and horror one. Because the main character OJ, you know, he has a lot of those qualities without it being something that they're making like over the top or that they're making be the conflict in the movie. Just I like that they have a really cool, diverse cast of people who are all different, all bring something to it. And I like that everybody in this movie has their own arc. Even the guy who's the filmmaker, he wants to get that perfect, impossible shot, you know? And then it's also one of those movies where if you know all the themes that they're going for in this, all the messages they're trying to share, I think it can enrich it. But I don't think you need to understand all those to appreciate it. I think you can enjoy this as kind of a, I wouldn't even say horror necessarily. There is one scene that is truly horrific where it looks like blood is raining from the sky. But for the most part, this is mostly a science fiction movie. And it's got, you know, a lot of comedy, which I think we could come to expect with Jordan Peele. He loves to mix comedy with other genres. Visually, though, I'm so glad we saw this in the cinema because this was a real treat. The cinematography in this is next level. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah. I'd say some of Jupiter's flashbacks are more horror, too.
Yes. My only complaint with that and why it wouldn't have been higher on the list is I do feel like Jupiter, I can't remember that's the character he played in his TV show. I felt like that was such an interesting character and I wish more was done with him. And he was more part of this group of people who we followed to the climax. He doesn't have a whole lot to do in the movie, but his flashbacks are really, really interesting. And I'd actually love to see maybe a whole movie just about him.
Yeah, Steven Yeun. He was in Mayhem and also Glenn from Walking Dead. That's probably what most people remember him from. Yeah, I think they should have done a little more with his character.
But yeah, I've loved both of Jordan Peele's movies before this one. This is by far the best looking movie he's ever done. It's incredible.
Big spectacle.
Checking in with the chat. Have I seen Nope? Nope. You should check it out. You really should. Ben said they saw Fall on a Dolby screen and had my stomach twisted with the heights. Yeah, the first time I saw it, like it really had me. When is Danny gonna make a horror movie with a pug killer?
Oh, I don't have a pug.
Or killer pug. Keke Palmer is such a star. No, she's incredible in this. Yeah, a lot of people said that they read OJ as being autistic and Emerald, his sister, as having ADD. And I think it's awesome that there's enough there that you can read that, and so people feel like that they got that representation, you know, and just to have some different characters. But you know, it's not something that they're like slamming in your face and making take away from the story, which is cool.
Treat them as characters that happen to have stuff.
Ariel says this movie's like an alien invasion of making a movie. It reminds me of Mars Attacks. Well played, Jordan Peele. I agree. I want to see Undisputed. Pug versus Pomeranian. Make it happen, Danny. So, Danny, what is your number 8?
My number 8, I'm going to cheat here a little bit. It is both Pearl and X.
That's cheating!
Just go ahead and put Pearl on there. I would say I like Pearl a little more, but I wouldn't like Pearl as much as I do without X, if that makes any sense. And they both came out this year, and I think that Ty West just killed it with both of these movies.
I think Mia Goth killed it.
Exactly, Mia Goth.
She is incredible. I know we're gonna get disappointed again, but she is someone who deserves not just acclaim from the horror community, but she deserves an Oscar.
Exactly. She killed herself in one of them. That's how she's been killing it. Jenna Ortega also was in the X.
She's
did
an
a great
incredible
job.
screen queen.
Well, I wanted to write down. Yeah. And Brittany Snow was also an X. That's why I want to mention X.
I love her.
They also did amazing jobs. I think overall,
Kid Cudi.
Yep, I prefer Pearl overall, but I wouldn't like Pearl as much. I wouldn't even nearly care about Pearl without X. I think that they really bring each other together, so that's why I'm cheating and putting them both in this slot. They're honestly, even on my list, they're not that far apart. I just have Pearl a little higher. But I think it's great. I think it's cool that Ty West made a movie, had enough budget, and just came up with enough a creative backstory for the Pearl character, because that was just kind of, they came up with it when Mia Goth was asking about what her character, and they just kind of came up with some notes, and they're like, we should just make a movie of that. We have
I like that the studio trusted him enough that he said, can I have more money to make another movie? And they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. He had a little left over, and they just gave him a little extra, and they had more time. That's one thing. They had a lot of time with the set, so they might as well just paint it up, make it look new, and think it takes place in the 20s. And I love it. So if you didn't see Pearl or X, I think you should check them out. I can't wait for this trilogy, if not more, to be
Next
continued.
one's Maxine.
Yep.
We haven't gotten a date on that yet, but if it's in 2023, I am there opening day.
Yeah. I don't know. These came out so close together. I don't know how long it's going to take to get Maxine, but it takes place in the 80s, and I'm looking forward to it.
Anything else you want to say?
No.
I will be talking about Pearl in a little bit. So now we're on our number 7 picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but you know what? It's my opinion. I really enjoyed Halloween Ends. I know a lot of people hated this movie. I think the hate is undeserved. I really hope that this gets a reevaluation in the years to come, because I think the cinematography was incredible. I think this movie took big swings and wanted to do something different. I think they could have pandered to the audience and just given them another Michael Myers kills young people movie, and they didn't do that. They wanted to tell a story that they wanted to tell. I think if you feel like you're missing stuff from this, the novelization does fill in some of that, and I think, maybe some additional scenes could have made it even better. But I really loved this. I thought the performances were great. I thought Rowan Campbell, who played Corey, was really great in this. Jamie Lee Curtis was great in this. It gave me a lot to think about. This is a movie that stuck with me. It also delivered on the horror. It had some really scary sequences, some really good kills. I thought this was a great ending to the trilogy. I loved 2018. I was a little iffy on Halloween Kills. I liked the kills, but I didn't care for the movie so much. I thought it was a little melodramatic. But I thought this one kind of just rounded it off perfectly and concluded that trilogy beautifully.
Yeah, I like how they didn't give us the same 3 movies 3 times in a row.
Yes.
All 3 of the trilogy is different. The first one was really good. That was like a really good sequel. It had been a while since the Halloween franchise could get like a sequel that would go right after the first movie. I mean, it's a mess as a franchise, but I thought that 2018 did a great job. Kills has awesome kills and some beautiful camera work and stuff, but I felt like it wasn't character driven at all. It was just repetitive nonsense that people were spouting out of their mouths. That was my big problem with it. This one's the opposite, where I guess it doesn't have all those crazy kills and violence, but it was very character driven, like very much so.
I feel like a lot of filmmakers I hear in interviews say I don't want to do a sequel because I don't want to make the same movie twice. Mm-hmm. David Gordon Green showed you don't have to make the same movie twice. You can still continue a story, continue a franchise, and show something very different. And I think especially with these iconic characters like Michael Myers, I like exploring different aspects of that character. And in this one, we really explored that it's not even Michael Myers. There's an evil in Haddonfield that fuels Michael Myers, that's contagious, that infects the people of this town. And this movie explored that better than anyone that's come before it.
I'd agree. And my only little nitpicks is I think maybe Corey should have been slightly sprinkled into the first 2 movies.
I would have liked that.
That way it feels more like a closer knit trilogy. Where, because the first 2 really play off each other very well, and this one, it does, but not nearly as well. I think if they could have, like, sprinkled some of that in there, it would have been better. But, little nitpick.
Check in with the chat. Katie also loved it, so that makes me happy. Charlie liked it. That's all. Hey, Charlie, I don't think I've seen you in the Gory Hole before, but welcome. I'm very happy that there's some more people who appreciate it. Yeah, and those who don't, that's fine. We don't all have to agree on movies, guys, but maybe give it another chance. Diana Prince's cameo was a pleasant surprise. I really can't wait to get this one on Blu-ray and see all those extended scenes and deleted scenes. Cheyenne loved Halloween Ends. It's awesome. And she also loved Corey. That's so awesome. Yeah, awesome. I'm really excited that There's a lot of people here who also appreciate this movie. What's next for you, Danny?
Scream 5 or just Scream 20.
Okay, here's what I have to say about Scream. I am really happy that they stopped trying. I hate it when a movie takes the same title as another movie. As somebody who talks about horror films a lot, it's extremely frustrating that there's 3 different movies called Halloween. And now there's 2 different movies called Scream. I love that for the next one they are just calling it Scream 6. This should have been called 5 Cream.
Yeah, why not? If anything, that's my biggest problem with this movie is the title. Why is it just called Scream? I don't know. I love it though, overall, because I feel like it did a lot about the same things as 4, but this one had more like actual consequences to its ending. And as David Arquette is my favorite character in this, and this is his swan song, and he just went out beautifully. I think
he went out like a gunslinger, like an old West hero.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is like the best Neve Campbell Scream movie by any means. I don't even know why she's really in it other than a phone call. I think that was more than enough for her. A cameo, maybe at the funeral for Dewey. That would have been great. But she didn't really need to do what she needed. But I do think it was a great way to kind of end the arc for Dewey. And I liked it overall. I like Scream movies. None of them have been ever that bad. Scream 3 is probably my least favorite, but I still think it's a great movie.
The quality is consistently good.
Like, the bar has never gotten that low on Scream. They've never flown over the shark or anything. Like, they do in the Stab movies, and I think that's hilarious, and I kind of wish I could watch the Stab movies.
One with time travel.
The flamethrower and the chrome mask.
I will say, there is a group of people who make the Stab movies on YouTube.
That's awesome.
Which is incredible.
The one with the chrome mask and the flamethrower.
And my buddy Killjoy Jake just did Red Right Hand, which was really great.
But thankfully, Ghostface, he hasn't gone to space because he doesn't need to. And thankfully,
does he not need to? Because I kind of feel like he needs to.
But
okay, I'm kidding, guys. Don't send him to space.
Like,
I think what's great about this franchise is it's so grounded.
It's grounded, and like I said, even when one isn't as good as the other, it's not that far behind. Like, they're all pretty much right there. And that's why I loved it. And yeah, it's not the best high on the franchise, but it's still one of the best of the year for me.
Very good. For me, I was a little disappointed by this one just because I felt like I wanted them to really focus on their new characters, and that the ending of it lost me a little by really, I felt, forcing Sydney's character into it. I think I'm happy that Sydney just gets to have a happy ending. I know unpopular opinions here, but I am really excited for Scream 6 because I think they created some really cool characters, and I want to see what happens to them.
Oh yeah, Jenna Ortega killed it in this too, like we mentioned earlier.
And I'm excited we're getting a different location.
Right?
Like, let's do some different stuff with Scream, guys.
And I like what's his name from The Boys. Like, he'll always
I
be
do.
the guy from The Boys.
He's Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid's kid.
Yeah, but there you go. So I don't know. Overall, I really liked it, but
gorgeously filmed.
Looking forward to 6.
I think anyone who's a fan of this franchise is gonna appreciate this one because a lot of love went into it.
Oh yeah.
Our buddy Rich, the movie Massacre, who you get to hang out with in a couple days, says Halloween was a great film. It was a fantastic character-driven movie that had an actual plot, had a lot to say about a ton of different things. Very well said, my friend. And I'm so happy that you're here. Yeah. We have a nice group in the chat today in the Gory Hole. I hope you guys are having fun in the Gory Hole.
Wait till the comments later when we're not live. They'll tear apart our whole list.
Oh, again, guys, it's all subjective. These are our picks. They don't have to be yours. The fact that you guys love horror movies too makes me excited. So even if we have completely different lists, I respect your opinions, and I really am grateful that you guys are being so respectful of ours.
Yeah.
This next one is one I don't think enough people have seen. This is my number 6. It's Hellbender. Mm-hmm. I am a sucker for a good witch movie, and this is one of the most unique witch movies I've ever seen. It was a Shudder original. It's made by the Addams family, not the Wednesday Morticia one, but Toby Poser, John Adams, and their daughter Zelda, I believe. Zelda Adams. Just for a long time, this family has done everything needed in the film, from filming it to performing in it to writing in it, and this is their best movie yet. It's a coming-of-age story about a girl who is told that she is very ill and she cannot be around other people, but I love the relationship she has with her mother, who is her real-life mother, Toby. They They have their own rock band where they go all out and do the makeup and stuff. Like they're truly best friends. And so it resonates in so many different ways. That idea of when your children are teenagers and they're about ready to go find out who they are away from you. And that's scary.
It's for me a very much a modern day like tales like Brothers Grimm, like fairy tale or Disney even, where the princess and the witch kind of live out in the woods by themselves and she doesn't know why she's isolated. Like the Rapunzel stuck in there with the witch, or even just the fairy godmothers in Sleeping Beauty. However, it's not a happy Disney movie by any means.
Yeah, so I mean, I think like there's a lot of ways you can read into this. It can be coming of age, it can be a fairy tale. I resonated with this very much as a parent of a teenager. But you find out that there's very good reasons, and these people they're hellbenders, which is like an alpha predator, a witch, a whole bunch of things mixed in one. They are extremely dangerous to other people, and I really feel like the less you know, the better. This is on Shudder. Really an interesting, completely original film, beautifully acted, beautiful cinematography, really special movie.
Your mom gives you twigs and berries to eat. Just eat them and be grateful.
Checking in with the chat. Speaking of Scream, did you guys see the original cast will be at Emerald City Comic Con next year? No, but that's really awesome. We might have to check that out. Jack Quaid, there you go, Brandon. Ghostface takes Manhattan. Hopefully, he actually does take Manhattan, because I've been fooled before. We won't get fooled again.
Hey, the Gremlins says, the Gremlins were actually in New York.
Yeah, Charlie, I agree. I think it's so rare that one of our favorite final girls, how I think we love them as much as these iconic slashers, I think them getting a happy ending is, for me, it's really important and special, because usually they get killed off. And I think as anyone who's suffered any real life trauma, when you look at these people who are our heroes, knowing that they get a happy ending, I think it's important. And I really want that for Sydney. I hope they never kill her off.
Yeah, a lot of them get done dirty, like Alice in Friday the 13th 2, or even what's her name in Nightmare on Elm Street 4. It's like they just kind of they go from being the main awesome character and then they just kind of get thrown away in the next one.
And Denisha's here. Hey, girl. Nice to see you here. And Bob. We got Bob in the chat. I really liked Hellbender. I saw it on the last drive-in. Yes, actually, it was on the last drive-in too. That's a good point. Mm-hmm. They did some fun stuff with the last drive-in crew, so that's really cool.
I like how Joe Bob like reaches out to these indie makers and helps them out. Shudder as well. I'm sure Shudder had a big part of that.
If you missed this one, a lot of people did. It is on Shudder. Shudder is incredible. Do support Shudder, because I know AMC is making a lot of cuts right now, and Shudder is the best horror streaming service. They curate indie films, foreign films, a mass collection. They get your favorites like your Nightmare on Elm Streets. They get Shudder originals every week, and they host the last drive-in. So for $4.99 a month, it's a steal.
Let AMC know on your Twitter and your Instagram that you really support Shudder, but of course, most likely you got to vote with your dollar. Get that subscription. Let them know that you want it.
And if you're not sure, they do a 7-day free trial.
Yeah.
What's your next pick?
My next pick is Halloween Ends. Which we just kind of talked about, but I love this for a lot of reasons. I think that opening with the Corey and the babysitting scenario is one of my favorite openings in any Halloween movie. I love the cool
it has
pumpkins.
Some humor in it.
They brought back the pumpkins as they usually do, and it's one of the cooler ones where it's morphing and changing from evil. It takes different shapes. The evil doesn't die tonight, it just changes shape. And yeah, I think it was a great send-off to Michael Myers as a slasher who was put on a meat grinder by Guar. I think it's a cool way that he kind of went out.
Denisha, I have seen the new Scream 6 poster. I'm stoked. I'm so excited. Yeah, Halloween Ends was awesome. Really, really great movie. I also highly recommend the novelization. I think this movie could have been another half hour longer. I wish it would have been a little bit longer. They went the full Terrifier 2 with it. The novelization, they did a great job of adding a lot of scenes that I'm kind of bummed we didn't get in the movie. I still love the movie very much, but it's a cheap, you can get it really inexpensively on Amazon. The Halloween Ends novelization is really awesome.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest complaints, and it's not even that big, is that they filmed a lot of cool stuff that didn't make it the movie, and only some of that's coming out later on Blu-ray. I'm hoping that someday we'll get one that has all of it, because it sounds like there's a lot.
They filmed a lot that didn't make it in. I wish some more of it would have been in there. I haven't seen Troll yet, but it looks like Ben and Zigma really enjoyed it. Not sure if is it a horror movie? Let me know.
Troll's my favorite Harry Potter movie, but I guess they're probably talking about the newest one, huh? It has nothing to do with Troll and Troll 2.
Anything else you want to say about Halloween Ends?
Don't believe the hate. I think a lot of people will look back on that one in about 10 years and they will actually appreciate it.
I think it's going to be like Halloween 3 where in time I think it already has a devout, cult following that's maybe a little quieter than the haters, but I think in time it's going to get a reevaluation because it is a beautifully made movie.
I think it's just nice that sometimes Hollywood does give us something new.
I think it's nice that it was made by people who wanted to tell a great story and not people who necessarily wanted to make money. I love those sequels too, guys. I love Halloween 6 and stuff, but undeniably that movie was manipulated by the studios, by Miramax, who are like, these statistics tell us what makes money. And sometimes there are good creative people involved, but the producers come in and they screw it up. And so it's really a beautiful and special thing when creative people get to tell a story.
Yeah, because Hollywood doesn't want to give us new stories sometimes. They want to just give us what they think works in their algorithms. And when we complain that they did give us something new, that just further reinforces that.
Exactly. So, yeah, if you want to see more good stories, put your money where your mouth is and, support those movies. Even if it didn't work for you, at least respect that they took a risk and they didn't just go with some algorithm. They treated you like an audience and they told you a story.
Not just simply the same story, copy-paste 2.0.
Nice to see my buddy Extron Gaming here in the chat. Happy New Year's. And Extron didn't like Halloween Ends, but I think it's awesome that you're respectful to those who do. Like I said, everyone loved Scream 5. I liked it. Didn't love it as much as everyone else, but I think it's awesome when we can have these really good conversations about movies while showing them and the people who love them respect. I want to go with I think we're at number 6 now. I'm not sure. My number 6 pick is Smile. This is one where I saw a lot of trailers for it. Are we on 5?
Yeah.
Number 5. This is one I saw a lot of trailers for, and I was like, I guess I'll call it an algorithm movie. Those ones where it seemed from the trailers that this was going to be very jump scare heavy, a one directed towards teenagers, that was going to be a flash in the pan. Absolutely, this was not. It was beautifully filmed. Actually, it does have a lot of jump scares, but they're very well done. My poor friend Rich was like destroyed, like almost had a heart attack. Sosie Bacon, Kevin Bacon's daughter, and Kyra Sedgwick's daughter, is incredible in this movie. Really great performances. I think sometimes the scariest things are like just a creepy face or whatever, and this movie really capitalizes on that. Its mythology to me is very similar to movies like The Ring, which I really love. And it was based on a short film, which was also really good. I love the marketing for this too. They had people at like the various baseball games and on the good afternoon, good morning show or whatever, in the background, paid actors who were just doing this really creepy smile. So yeah, this wasn't, I think a lot of people saw this and thought Truth or Dare, which was very much like an algorithm Blumhouse-y flash in the pan movie. It's absolutely not like that. This is really a very well made movie. Really scary, holds up on multiple rewatches. This is a great scary slumber party movie. It's a great one to watch with friends, and it is genuinely a movie that is, I think, really scary.
Now, I like the marketing, as you said about that stuff. I didn't like the trailer though. I think the trailer basically made me think that it was going to be like a Truth or Dare type of jump scary movie. But it is a lot more like It Follows or The Ring. If you like those type of movies,
Yes.
I think it would be more up your alley.
We'll turn the fan on. Don't do that.
All right.
There you go.
All right. So yeah, it was. I didn't really know much about it other than the fact that we saw 3 movies in a row at the theater with our friend Rich, and I kept seeing this trailer before the other 2 movies. That's all I went into it. I didn't think it looked all that good, but it actually surprised me. I do think the first, 20 minutes of the movie has just unnecessary loud jump scares. They're just loud that are annoying, but once she's actually involved in the plot, the main character, and like kind of has an idea that something's going on here, all the jump scares and other things that are just creepy start to really make a lot more sense, and that ending I think is just great.
Bob says, I liked Smile. I wish they hadn't given away a great jump scare in the trailers. It was a really great one. I know what you're talking about, the one by the car. Again, this is why I don't watch a lot of trailers, but unfortunately this one was shown at like every movie I saw, so that was spoiled for me. Same thing with Nope. I wanted to go in completely blind. A lot of the trailers spoiled it. But this movie, 100% is it's a roller coaster. If you want a roller coaster ride, there are movies that challenge us, that make us think about things like Halloween Ends and Nope. And I think those movies are wonderful. And sometimes we just want to go on a roller coaster. We just want to have fun. We just want to jump. We just want to, and I also think this movie, on top of being a great roller coaster, has some great themes about trauma and the way it affects people. So it has depth to it.
Movie didn't quite make my list, but it's not far below. I definitely recommend it.
Let's get to what did make your list.
All right, my number 5 is Fresh. Boom. Fresh. Let's see here. Oh, I got it on there too. But yeah,
you can see all the cast and stuff right there.
Yeah, Mimi Cave is the director of this, and I don't know Mimi Cave. I didn't hear anything about her until this. I think she just came out with a great movie that I wasn't expecting. Like I went into this very blind, only from a little bit of what you kind of told me as we started to watch it. Like you knew about it, and it's got Bucky, Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier.
I like to think of him from the Covenant. Ooh, witchy.
I think it's hilarious that you see a hand there in the meat package, but he's the Winter Soldier, so he's missing an arm. Him and body parts. It's just funny. And then we have Daisy Edgar Jones, who plays the final girl in this, and she does an amazing job. It's basically she just has a bad, shitty love life, and her friends are like, get out there and try, and she's apps, and she doesn't like them. They're all hollow and gross, and she goes on a really bad date with this guy who's just fake as shit. But then she meets Bucky, and he's nice and refreshing.
Bucky?
I don't remember his name in the movie, but it's Sebastian Stan. He's very charming.
Steve.
Steve, and he's at a grocery store, and he picks her up the old-fashioned way. But things
with a meat cute.
Yeah, exactly. And even though her friend's a little this is moving fast, at the same time she's kind of happy for her, and he's gonna take her on a romantic getaway, but it doesn't go the way she was hoping. She ends up being kind of a piece of meat. I don't want to spoil too much of really what it is, but I love this movie. There's some good gore. There's a lot of suspense. I did not know how it was going to end or where it was really going to go. There's some little twists that get revealed later on about Steve and his personal life, kind of intertwining with his professional life, and her taking advantage of some of that. But I think it's actually a really good movie. It kind of flew under a lot of people's radars, I think, but I think
we didn't watch it until after it'd been out a while.
Yeah.
I'll be talking about this one a little bit later, so I'm going to move on to my next pick, which is one we've actually already talked about, so I'm going to keep this one a little bit short. Pearl. Pearl is, we're number 4, right?
Yeah.
Pearl is my 4th. I think I liked X as well. I wasn't a big fan of some of the old age makeup, and I didn't find Pearl that believable as an old lady killer, but I did really like it. But Pearl, I thought it took everything I liked about X, and it made this kind of cool, Technicolor, almost like Wizard of Oz style, as far as the colors and the big music and stuff goes, style horror movie. And I've never seen that before. I've seen tons of throwback 70s horror movies and 80s and 90s. I've never seen a horror movie that throws back to World War One era. Is it World War One?
1920s.
1920s? Yeah. Okay. So back to that generation. Mia Goth is incredible. She carries this movie. She has an amazing monologue towards the end. She also has a scene where she just smiles, holds a smile creepily for forever. It's a really fascinating exploration into what makes someone a killer, what makes them tick. Mm-hmm. And this is a character who is obviously completely insane, but you do care about her, and in your own way, you kind of root for her. She really wants to be a star. She wants to be special. She wants to be an actress. And I think even though we know she's completely balls crazy, we root for her. And you don't need to have seen X to enjoy this movie. You can watch it on its own, though I think you'll appreciate it more if you've seen X. After seeing this one, I definitely liked X a lot more. Mm-hmm. Both of them have very kind of just a bizarre, dark humor to them. But I think they're both incredible films, and I cannot wait for Maxine.
I feel like this kind of did what Paranormal Activity 1 and 2 did for me, where they elevate each other. I feel that's how Pearl and X did. I love how X was such a 70s grindhouse porn, dirty porn feeling movie. Like, it felt like you were really in that kind of genre, like, living it. And then Pearl did the exact same thing with, like, those 20s movies, like, almost like Sound of the Music, Gone with the Wind, Wizard of Oz type feel to it. Said I love that, but then obviously a horror movie unlike those three, like a violent.
But what I liked about
movie.
X is I don't feel like it was like a dirty porn movie.
No.
I felt like it wasn't casting shame.
No,
on that.
Not.
And I feel like even this movie, it has a serial killer at its core, and they're not passing judgment on her. They're just showing you how she thinks. And I also want to give a huge shout out to the man who plays her father, who doesn't, I think, speak a word in this entire movie, acts entirely with his face, but is incredible.
I felt so bad for that guy.
All right. Moving on to, what is your next pick?
My next pick is, well, we ate fresh, so let's see what else is on the menu. The menu, which one of the last movie I saw in theaters last year.
And we reviewed it on your channel.
Yes, we just reviewed it last week on my channel. Great job. I loved it. Mark Malloyd, I believe is the name of the director. He did a great job. He had Ralph Fiennes, Anna Taylor-Joy, and they killed it. Like, they play off each other so well. Just what their chemistry, like her chemistry with her Nicholas Hoult boyfriend, it's not good. It's not supposed to be
incredible.
good.
He's in Mad Max. Mm-hmm. He's in Warm Bodies. He's Beast. He's just such a chameleon.
But yeah, their chemistry's not supposed to be good. But then just the way her and Ralph, not in a romantic way, but just this, they have this unspoken thing between each other and like almost an understanding, and they're trying to figure each other out. And it's just, they play off each other so well. You got John Leguizamo in here as a douchebag actor who apparently makes really bad movies, but he always telling people like he's like this refined foodie. Everybody thinks they're a refined foodie in this. Some of them might be, but they're still just kind of assholes and douchebags. But it's so great to just kind of see them pretend. Like, how long are they going to keep pretending to, like, and their status is so much more important to them than actually enjoying their meal. And that's kind of like what Fiennes' character finds is like kind of doing as the chef. They've broken him by eating his food and critiquing it and just making him constantly have to outdo himself. And he's at the top and he hates it at the
It's
top.
almost like Nope, where it's become more of a spectacle than actually what it's supposed to be, which is the joy of making good food for good people. Mm-hmm. But he's also part of the problem because if he wanted to, he could just open a mom and pop restaurant, but he loves his status. He loves that prestige he has.
And he knows that he's just chasing an endless cycle of viciousness, and he wants to bring it all to an end. And he blames himself and his staff, but he also
don't give away too much though.
He blames the people that he's serving. That's all I'm gonna say. You've got to check it out. It's not traditional in a horror sense. It's more about the reaction to the horror than the horror itself, but it's great. You should definitely see this.
Awesome. I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit, so I'm not gonna give too many of my actually, that's my next pick. My number 3 pick is The Menu. This is a movie that it does have horror in it. And as I was watching this, it's very rare that I watch a movie where I'm like, I don't know where this is going. I didn't know, like, I had a lot of things in my head. Like, okay, is he going to eat the people? Is he going to serve the people? Is he going to do like a dangerous game thing? Is he going to hunt the people? I really had no idea up until pretty late in the movie. And that's exciting because I watch a lot of movies. You guys watch a lot of movies. We know the tropes and we think we have it figured out. And honestly, this one I didn't have figured out. I had really interesting, complicated characters, and it does have a lot to say. And I think you can apply what it has to say to a lot of different things, to movies, to any kind of art. And we talked about this in depth on Danny's channel, Horror Addicts, where we reviewed this if you want more on that. But I think if you're the kind of person who doesn't want to really delve into themes and stuff, you can still enjoy this. It's a very tense movie. They do a lot with the sound design and stuff. Every time he claps, I was jumping in my seat. It's also really funny. Now, it is a satire, so it's not like a slapsticky kind of funny. It's satire, and not everybody really likes satire, and that's fine. It's something that some people like and other people don't like. But if you enjoy a good satire, this is, I think, one of the better ones I've seen. Really funny characters. Characters who are not afraid to play like douchebags, because there's a lot of douchebags in this movie, and I like that the movie it doesn't really spare anybody. I think all the characters in this are really complicated. So it never feels preachy. I think when you get characters who are very like, these are the good characters and these are the bad characters, you can sometimes get a movie that's really preachy. This movie is not that at all. It's really interesting. I highly recommend it. My number 3 of the year. Yeah, I think it's great and also just beautifully filmed.
Yeah, it's deliciously devilish in like its tongue-in-cheek humor, but it's still like intense.
What is your number 3?
My number 3 is The Black Phone. So, pick up that phone, let it ring.
Based on the short story by Joe Hill.
Yes, a Joe Hill story by Scott Dickerson, the director.
Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, Derrickson.
Who also did why am I drawing a blank? What is those movies he did? Sinister. Thank you.
Yeah.
Internet for helping me.
And anyways, so I got that on my shirt here because we got to talk about how we were on Jupiter's Ranch when we were in Hollywood Horror Nights. We also went through a cool Michael Myers horror house, but also a Black Phone horror house that I loved. And
great jump scares.
Ethan Hawke just is intense. Like, he is a creepy, scary son of a bitch when he needs to be. And this movie is proof of that.
I want him to do more horror. He was great in this.
The movie's horrifying for a lot of reasons. Like, some people would probably just be horrified on the kid-on-kid violence, but that actually kind of takes me back to being young, and kids were a little more dangerous back then. I think we were just running around on our bikes and getting into fights, and nowadays kids don't do that kind of stuff as much, from what I hear. But I don't know. I think it was great. Like, it told a great story. It just great atmosphere, and then Ethan Hawke just killed it. This is one who's stuck in my head, and if anybody hasn't seen it and they come over, I kind of make them watch it because I want you to experience this film. I think it was definitely, for a while there, it was my favorite of the year, only to be dethroned recently. So.
This one for me is an honorable mention. I did really like it. I do feel towards the end there, it lost some of that intensity that it's so well crafted throughout the film. I do love the one guy who... James Ransom, who was also in Ranscombe, who was also in It. I think he's great. But yeah, I thought it was pretty powerful. I thought at the end there, it kind of petered off a bit. But Ethan Hawke is incredible. The kid actors in this are incredible. I want to see Ethan Hawke in more horror, and I would love to see this character come back in some way in another movie.
I hear there might be a prequel.
That would be really cool.
Black balloons.
Okay, my number 2, probably another one we've already talked about because we have a lot of similar ones. So I didn't talk about this much when you mentioned it. This, for the longest time this year, was my favorite movie of the year. I love Fresh. It was so surprising. I expected this to just be kind of a play on like dating and stuff, like, we talked about a little bit, but it's so much more than that. It's a great movie for women. It's directed by a woman. It's got fantastic female performers in it. And yes, if you want your good for her movie of the year, this is it. This movie is very much about like female empowerment. It talks a lot about romantic relationships, but it also has a lot to say about the relationships that we have with other people, with our friends, the people, our chosen family, and how your life doesn't need to be defined by whatever romance you do or do not have. Your life is about the love you have for other people, be they your friends or your family or, what have you. And that part of this movie was really important to me. It has some good humor in it. I really, really loved these characters. I really rooted for them. The movie is also just complicated and horrific, and it's just, as you can see by the poster, there's some body horror in here that's really hard to stomach. So yeah, it got me with the horror, it got me with the feels. I loved these characters. It made me laugh, and it's so rare that we get a movie that does all of those things.
Yeah, that Mimi Cave or whatever. She was a great director. I want to see more from her. When you say female empowerment, I agree. I don't want some people, for some reason, they get turned off when they hear that type of thing. I don't. But I know that some people get like worried. Oh, is there going to be just like a heavy-handed message? No, she's very fair. She shows you that women can be evil and vile towards each other and to people too. There's not all of them are good characters in this. But the ones that are like really looking out for each other in ways that you'd think they're very sacrificing themselves in a sense and very helpful, but there's some that are selfish too and do
I
anything to
feel
have
like
what they want.
what I'm trying to say with this movie is that a lot of times in these kind of movies, what ends up happening is a guy has a romantic relationship of some sort,
Yeah.
needs to come to save the day.
No.
And in this, it's not even that. I mean, I'm not even with same sex couples. It's basically saying that love is important, whether it be for your friends or your family or for
Exactly.
romance. That we put so much pressure on romantic relationships, like you have to have that to be complete, and you don't.
No.
You know, you are complete just the way you are with the people who love you right now. You are complete. And that's what this movie is saying. And I think it's a really great message.
Yeah.
That you don't need the prince or even princess to save you at the end. That what you have now, your friends, your family, the people who love you, that's enough. You are enough right now. And that is a really important message. And, you know, it does it even with the villainous characters. They are fully fleshed out people, even Sebastian Stan, who you guys know he's the villain of this. I'm not spoiling anything. I liked him. I liked him jogging, listening to his 80s pop music. You know, I could see why this girl was, you know, deceived by him. I did like him, but I also was scared of him. Great movie. Highly recommended. It is on Hulu. I hope we get a physical release of this one because it's definitely going on my collection.
No, I don't think any of the characters were one note. That's one of the reasons why I liked about it too. Like I said, it's just funny. The Bucky and the hands. And you are, like you said, you are enough for yourself, no matter what someone takes from you, even if they are physically taking from you, like body parts. You are still enough.
Yeah, I think this movie, it's gross, but it had messages in it that really warmed my heart.
They can't take what's inside of you.
Exactly. And we got AKH Money in the chat. Nice to see you here, and thank you.
Money.
Fresh is a great movie, surprising and creepy. I think it's really great. So yeah, don't be turned off by, I'm not saying like strong female characters or anything. Just what it has to say about people, just that you're enough. That's what this movie kind of taught me. Exactly. And so I think whether you're male or female or, you know, however you identify, this movie has a really important message. Okay, what is your number 2?
My number 2, we talked about it a little bit ago.
Your number 1.
No, I haven't done my number 2 yet.
What's your number 2?
Prey.
Ooh.
We talked about it a little bit on
I was hoping that was going to make your list. Sorry, we're running a little late on your stream.
I'll keep this quick because we already talked about it, but yes, I love Predator 1. I love Predator 2. Those were like some of my favorite movies as a kid. I was disappointed by the Alien vs. Predator movies overall. Like, they're fun. Same thing with some of the sequels in this. Predators, I thought was pretty good. The Predator has fun moments, but it's not very good in a lot of ways. This is the one I've been finally waiting for.
I will say I haven't disliked any Predator movie, but some of them are, I wouldn't say like Predators or The Predator is a great film, you know, whereas this is a great film.
This is like, I love the first 2 Alien movies. I love the first 2 Predator movies. I thought that was so good that those 2, like, out of the gate, on those 4 movies are just perfect almost. And then they made all these disappointing sequels that are not bad. I love almost all of them for both of the franchises. Just disappointing in comparison. And this one finally just blew me out of the water. I love how they use real Native Americans. We have Amber, Mid-Thunder, and Dakota Beavers, and they did a great job. And I think
that's important because there are a lot of very talented Native performers out there who just for whatever reason are not getting the roles they deserve.
Exactly, and I've seen Amber Mid-Thunder, like, she's only been in bit parts before, and she got her chance to shine, and I think she nailed it. She should be in more movies as a main character. Same thing with Dakota Beavers. He was great, and I just loved it. I love the camaraderie between the brother and the sister, which I can relate to.
I liked that too in this movie too. Like I feel like movies have told us for so long that the only relationships that matter are romantic ones. Like in this one, I think the core relationship is, well, one, a girl and her dog, and, you know, a sibling relationship. And it's so refreshing that we're seeing that.
Yeah, exactly. And the Predator itself looked crazy and cool, and it like had slightly older weapons itself. I'm wondering if it degraded on purpose because of what the Earth's technology itself was at that time, or if that's just where they were.
Their planet's technology
Exactly.
is.
Who knows? I'm not 100% sure. But it also has a reference to Predator 2. The gun that he gets in part 2. Yeah, Danny Glover gets in part 2 that they give him. That gun is in this movie, so you kind of figure out where its origin story is.
Yeah, I love that respect for what came before.
Exactly.
And Predator 2 doesn't get enough respect.
I love.
So I like that this movie gave that some respect.
Want some candy?
But yeah, I would love to see I'd love to see Amber in some more movies.
So, even though I saw this pretty early on in the year, it's still in my heart because I was just so glad to finally get it.
Just some great stories this year, guys.
Yeah.
Great stories. I'm gonna give you guys some of my before we get to my number one.
Yeah, let's do the
some of my honorable mentions. I'm not gonna show the posters for all of these.
Yeah.
I thought, let's see, where am I gonna start with my honorable mentions? Speak No Evil is a really good one. Really tense movie. It was an not Amazon Shudder original. Deadstream was kind of like a throwback to like Evil Dead and very low budget, but a lot of passion and a lot of laughs. Really loved that one. I loved X. We talked about that a little bit. Sissy is a movie also on Shudder, was a Shudder original that was really fun. Some incredible kills. Has a lot to say about like influencer culture and friendships, female friendships. The Sadness was intense and gross and horrifying. Great movie there. I loved The Innocents. I can't remember what country that came out of. Really, really cool. About these children who go to a town where essentially all the kids in this town have some kind of psychic abilities, and it really explores kind of the darker nature of like the friendships we have as children and kind of that dark side of children. You know, that side that pulls the wings off of flies and stuff and has them pitted against each other. Really intense movie, also on Shudder. Guys, get Shudder. And Fall, of course, was one of my honorable mentions. I also loved VHS 99. I loved Werewolf by Night. Orphan First Kill. Such a surprising movie. I liked it better than the original. Julia Stiles. Bravo. Great movie. Yeah, so, and also Scooby-Doo. You know, Scooby-Doo, Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, one of the best Scooby-Doo movies I've seen in a long time. Loved Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I thought that was fun. And I thought the Goodnight Mommy, the American remake, I actually enjoyed it better than the original. I know, unpopular opinion, but I do think it was really good, and it's on Amazon.
Nice. Give you some honorable mentions real quick.
Pardon me.
Orphan First Kill, like you said, surprisingly good. Hellraiser, it was not good enough to make this list, but it was one of the better Hellraiser sequels that we've had in a long time. Kind of like I was talking about with The Predator. Not quite on that level, but it was still nice to see a good Hellraiser movie. Smile was on there. Deadstream, VHS 99. I think the guy who did Deadstream did probably my favorite segment in VHS 99. That was great. Christmas Bloody Christmas is a pretty good little Christmas horror movie. And there was a lot of bad ones this year, so I liked that one.
Yes.
Wendell and Wild was a great little claymation movie. And then some that just, they might have made this list, but they're just, The Monsters was actually pretty fun. Like,
it got a lot of hate. It was
actually
fun.
pretty fun. I just want to say that I enjoyed it more than I thought. It wouldn't have made this list, but then there's ones that would have technically made this list for me, but I don't feel like they're horror enough to make the list.
Violent Night?
Violent Night, even Nope. Like, I love Nope. It was a little more sci-fi and not enough horror. If it had a little bit more horror, it would have made this list. I think Jordan Peele is more of a kind of a weird, spooky director than more he is a director. Like, he's more like the Twilight Zone embodied as a director so far. Because not every episode of the Twilight Zone is a horror episode. So I think that was that way. Werewolf by Night was great. Violent Night. Yeah, they were, and Doctor Strange. That's one of my favorite movies of the year. Yeah, I wasn't
sure if I'd count that, but it had some horrific moments in it. I thought it was really fun.
They're like movies that might have even been higher on the list than some of these. They just weren't horror enough to make my best horror of 2022. I see that. But I still love them. Doctor Strange, yeah, parts of that is basically Evil Dead 4. It's like almost Spider-Man 2 meets Evil Dead 4. So I love that movie. But yeah, those are just ones I wanted to throw out there. They were really good. We had some good shows.
Day Shift was also a lot of fun. Ariel's list was number 5, Day Shift, number 4, Scream, number 3, Doctor Strange, number 2, They, Them, and number 1, X. Those are great picks.
Yeah, so those are just honorable mentions of horror. Some great TV as well, like Dahmer and stuff.
Yeah, Dahmer was intense.
But yeah, that's just my honorable mentions.
Okay, we have the same pick for our number 1.
Yeah.
So might as well just announce it. This movie, very rarely am I just speechless when I see a movie. This movie left me speechless. This movie was so intense. And again, one of those rare films where you just don't know where this is going. They did such a great job with the marketing. Sometimes the trailers spoil everything. The trailers really didn't. I went into this movie having no idea what it's about, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. We're not going to spoil it for you. Such a surprising movie. Damn near perfect film. Like, this movie just is one of those ones where I just wanted to like stand up and just be like, slow clap. That was a movie. It was so good.
The first half of this movie, I'm like, why is this called Barbarian? The second half, I had ideas, but I'm like, why is it
Think
called
about
Barbarian?
it, though.
Like,
Like,
there's more, because I had answers, but I had more than one answer. So I'm like, okay, it's still not 100% sure why, but there's all these reasons why it could be. I'm not gonna go into it, but
I love that we have complicated characters, and it really plays with our expectations. Like, it's a film that rewards you for having seen a lot of movies. So we've all seen that movie where the girl comes in, from the rain, and there's a guy who answers the door, and we're like, oh, honey, like, be careful. He's dangerous. That's Bill Skarsgård. Watch out. And this movie plays with those expectations, and it's like, but why? And it plays with like what we should and should not do in social situations and how that's changed. What we were told is polite to do in social situations in the 50s is completely different than what is appropriate to do now. Yeah. And I love the way that this movie plays with that. And it also plays with our expectations of a horror movie. I love how we have characters in the exact same situation responding in completely different ways. Justin Long's reaction to the horror in this movie.
This measuring tape. Oh god, it's so
This
funny.
movie is shocking. It's horrifying. It's gory. It's gross. And it is laugh out loud funny. Go in as blind as possible. This movie is a real special one. It's absolutely a treat.
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård, the way they introduce him, creepy, behind a door in the middle of the night. He's not supposed to be there, according to Georgina Campbell's character. And she was amazing too. But yeah, she's like has a right to be afraid of him.
Black Mirror.
She has a right to be afraid of him, but it's like they did that on purpose. Then later on, when he introduced Justin Long, he's all like singing along in his his convertible, just being silly. But all these expectations in the movie are not what you expect. I'm not gonna go into it why, because I don't want to think, but it's everything. Just pay attention to the scenery. The first time you see something, the first time you meet somebody, just pay attention. It's always gonna like find a way to kind of spin it on its head.
And AKH Money, check out God, just drawing a blank. What's the other TV show that Bill Skarsgård did?
TV show?
Hemlock Grove.
Hemlock Grove, where he's
great in that.
Vampire.
But yeah, they did a great job in this with just the casting, because we have expectations of what we're going to see in a Justin Long movie. We have expectations of what we're going to see in a Bill Skarsgård movie. Richard Brake is in this. This movie is really good, and honestly, it's just kind of like a diamond or a prism where you flip it around and you can look at so many things in this movie from a different light. Really a fun movie. Gives you a lot to think about. I think this is a real special film. By far my favorite of the year.
Not having the right perspective could be disastrous in this movie. And that's what a lot of the characters and just audience will have to deal with going through it. So, I loved it.
I loved it too. And we have just enough time to get over to our next stream.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Hopefully you guys enjoy this list. If you want, I will make my list public now. It's been private on Letterboxd. I do love Letterboxd. I do log every single thing I watch on there. So if you're like me and you're really nosy about what other people are watching, you can stalk me and I'll stalk you right back over on Letterboxd. I'm on there as Gory B Movie. You can find Danny on there as Danny Knightmare. Yeah, I love Letterboxd. It's a lot of fun. You can find a lot more recommendations over on there. And don't go away, because we are heading over to Horror Addicts.
Well, I mean, go there anyways.
Well, yeah. Head over to Horror Addicts, youtube.com/Horror Addicts TV. I think there's a link in the description below. And it will be shared across all of our social medias. We're going to do the worst. The worst, guys. The worst movies of the year, in our opinion, over on Horror Addicts. So I hope you all see you there over at 8:30, so in 15 minutes.
Take a quick break, go to the bathroom, get yourself a snack, whatever. Join us there as we talk about what didn't work for us in 2022.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and until we meet again, blessed be.